Welcome back to Celebrities Then and Now. In today's video, we're diving into the intriguing and often shocking stories of 20 famous people who were blacklisted by Hollywood. Discover how these celebrities, despite their immense talent and popularity, found themselves on the outs with the industry. Stay tuned for an eye-opening look at the darker side of Hollywood, right here on Celebrities Then and Now. Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin, born Charles Spencer Chaplin, was a renowned English actor, director, producer, composer, and screenwriter, celebrated as one of the most influential figures in cinematic history. His career took off in the 1910s with the iconic role of the tramp in silent comedies, portraying a small, frail man who remained optimistic and triumphant despite adversities. However, alongside his immense success, Chaplin's life was fraught with controversies, leading to his blacklisting in Hollywood in the early 1950s. Chaplin faced accusations of communist sympathies during the Cold War, participating in activities perceived as supportive of the Soviet Union. His complex personal life, marked by multiple marriages and numerous relationships, also drew public scrutiny. In 1942, a highly publicized divorce from his third wife, Paulette Goddard, further tarnished his image amid allegations of sexual abuse and infidelity, though he denied these charges and ultimately won the case. In 1952, U.S. Attorney General J. Howard McGrath ordered Chaplin's expulsion from the United States due to his political views, forcing him into exile in Switzerland until his death in 1977. Despite these controversies, Chaplin's legacy as a pioneering and visionary artist in the film industry remains undisputed. Ring Lardner Jr. Ring Lardner Jr., born on August 19, 1915, in Chicago, Illinois, and passed away on October 31, 2000, in New York City, was a prominent American screenwriter and journalist. He achieved significant acclaim, winning 2 Oscars for Best Original Screenplay in 1942 and 1943, and an Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay in 1947. Additionally, he received several prestigious awards from the Writers Guild of America, including the Laurel Award for Screenwriting Achievement. Despite his success, Lardner Jr. became infamous as one of the Hollywood 10, a group of screenwriters investigated by the House Un-American Activities Committee (HUAC) for alleged communist activities in the late 1940s. During the McCarthy era, HUAC focused on rooting out communist influences in Hollywood. Lardner Jr. refused to answer HUAC's questions about his Communist Party membership, citing the Fifth Amendment, which protects against self-incrimination. Consequently, he was cited for contempt of Congress and sentenced to 6 months in prison. Following his release, Lardner Jr. was blacklisted by Hollywood studios, barring him from working in the film industry. He turned to writing for television and theater, but only had his name cleared in 1962. However, the blacklist severely damaged his career and reputation.
And he said, "That's enough, skip to the $64,000 question. Go ahead and turn it over to the committee counsel," who then said, "All right, Mr. Lardner, are you now or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party?" And I said, "Well, I can answer that question too, but I'd like to explain." And Thomas said, "Never mind explaining anything, you know." And I said one other thing, and he said,
Dalton Trumbo. Dalton Trumbo, 1905 to 1976, was a celebrated American screenwriter and novelist known for award-winning works such as Roman Holiday 1953, Exodus 1960, Spartacus 1960, and 30 Seconds Over Tokyo 1944. He began his writing career in the 1930s, quickly transitioning to screenwriting by the late 1930s. By the early 1940s, Trumbo was one of Hollywood's highest-paid screenwriters, earning up to $4,000 per week. His notable works during this period included Kitty Foyle 1940 and Our Vines Have Tender Grapes 1945. In 1947, Trumbo was called to testify before the House Un-American Activities Committee (HUAC) regarding alleged communist ties. Refusing to cooperate, he was blacklisted, preventing him from working in Hollywood. Despite this, Trumbo continued to write under pseudonyms, producing acclaimed scripts like Roman Holiday and winning an Oscar for The Brave One 1956 as Robert Rich. In the early 1960s, he gradually returned to Hollywood, receiving public credit for Exodus and Spartacus in 1960. Trumbo's courageous stand against HUAC and his enduring talent cemented his legacy as one of Hollywood's most gifted and brave screenwriters. His story was dramatized in the 2015 biographical film Trumbo starring Bryan Cranston. Lena Horne. Lena Horne, 1917 to 2010, was an American actress, singer, and civil rights activist known for her powerful contralto voice and emotive performance style. Starting her singing career in Harlem nightclubs during the 1930s, Horne quickly rose to fame, catching Hollywood's attention. In 1942, she became the first black actress to sign a long-term contract with a major studio, MGM, starring in films like Stormy Weather and Cabin in the Sky in 1943. Despite her success, racial discrimination limited her roles to secondary characters. Horne was also a fervent civil rights advocate, using her platform to speak out against racial injustice. In the early 1950s, during the McCarthy era, her activism led to her blacklisting in Hollywood, accused of communist sympathies without formal charges. This forced her to tour Europe and Asia to sustain her career. Returning to the US, in the 1960s, she continued her singing and acting career until her death in 2010 at age 92. Lena Horne remains an icon of strength and courage, breaking racial barriers and inspiring future generations of artists and activists. Her music continues to be celebrated, cementing her legacy as one of the greatest jazz singers of all time. Paul Robeson. Paul Robeson, 1898 to 1976, was a multifaceted American artist renowned for his work as an actor, singer, athlete, and social activist. A prominent figure in the Harlem Renaissance, he became one of the most famous Afro-Americans of the 20th century. In his artistic career, Robeson starred in successful Hollywood films during the 1920s and 1930s, including Emperor Jones 1933 and Showboat 1936. As a singer, he was celebrated for his powerful bass voice and emotive performances, recording numerous albums and performing globally. Additionally, Robeson was an outstanding athlete, winning a gold medal in track and field at the 1924 Summer Olympics. Robeson was also a fervent social and political activist, championing black rights, socialism, and anti-colonialism. He was a member of the Communist Party USA and an advocate for the Soviet Union. Due to his political views, Robeson was blacklisted by Hollywood in the late 1940s, accused of being a communist. This led to his career collapse as he could no longer find work in the film industry. The reasons for his blacklisting included his open support for communism during the Cold War, his active participation in civil rights and anti-colonial movements, and his high profile, which posed a threat to those seeking to maintain racial segregation in the United States. Despite these challenges, Robeson remains a symbol of artistic talent and unwavering activism.
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child.
Orson Welles. Orson Welles, 1915 to 1985, was a masterful and controversial figure in cinema, known for his groundbreaking techniques in storytelling, cinematography, and sound design. Born in Kenosha, Wisconsin, Welles gained fame as a director, actor, screenwriter, and producer. His debut film, Citizen Kane, 1941, is widely regarded as one of the greatest films of all time, showcasing innovative methods like low-angle shots, deep focus, and overlapping sound to create a unique cinematic experience. Other notable works include The Magnificent Ambersons, 1942, The Lady from Shanghai, 1947, and Touch of Evil, 1958. Welles faced significant challenges in Hollywood, particularly in the 1950s, when his liberal political views and refusal to conform to the studio system led to his blacklisting. Accused of communist sympathies during the era of the House Un-American Activities Committee HUAC, Welles struggled to secure funding for his projects and often had to work in Europe. Despite these obstacles, he continued making films until his death in 1985. Welles remains a pioneering filmmaker whose work continues to inspire and influence directors worldwide. His resilience and innovative spirit solidify his legacy as one of cinema's most important figures.
Et après avoir vendu tous ses amis à McCarthy, il a fait un film qui s'appelle Sur les quais et qui est une glorification du mouchard.
Sincere thanks to all the loyal viewers who have watched this entire video. If you enjoyed this content and would like to show your support, please click the subscribe button, like this video, and share it with your friends. Your support truly means a lot to us. Stay tuned for more interesting Then and Now stories coming soon. Until next time.